My name's Kyle. Essentially, the reason that I got so involved with coming up with a solution for this def level problem is I couldn't fathom that there was no remedy, and people would accept the fact that your truck would be down for an estimated 8 months and be okay with it. I had a truck breakdown. We're a small fleet. We only have 2 trucks, and we just recently had gotten a new truck and didn't have 2 trucks running for 2 weeks before the one broke down. Essentially, once it broke down, it was kind of a culture shock when I had learned that you could not just buy parts for a truck. I'm going to kind of break this video down into parts. A lot of people don't want to listen to how I came up to the fix, and they just want to get straight to the fix, and that's fine. You'll reference that in the bottom here, where it'll go over different parts of the movie. But if you really want to truly learn something, I recommend watching this, because you can apply this to something else one day, I promise. As far as this being the first time that we've ever heard of a quality sensor failing and having no fix, I'm sure there's going to be another problem. This in no way, shape, or form alters your emission system. A lot of people say, oh, this is a $21,000 fine by the EPA if you alter your emission systems. You're not altering it. PACCAR is releasing a patch to wipe the sensor from your ECU, so your ECU does not see the sensor. Okay? All it does is they put this data in that software and make it emit this signal, so the CAN bus is tricked to think the def level is always full. If you run your def tank out of def, you will destroy your SCR. Okay? So same concept is with this. If you run your system out of def, you will destroy your truck. Keep your def tank full. The only thing this is going to do you is this is going to save you about $2,000 to $3,000 from going to the dealership to having this flash put on your truck. Essentially, I had a def level sensor fail in this truck. It started out by just saying service SCR. Scanned it. I had a couple SPN codes. I had SPN 3031. That's a exhaust fluid tank temperature code. SPN 1761. That's an abnormal update rate for the level. And then I had SPN 3364, which is a catalyst quality, basically the quality sensor. Typed in some of these codes, realized they're all related to the same thing. Yeah, let's just put a sensor in it. They can't cost much. Looked them up. It's like $250. We'll just put it in it. Just called the dealer, and they, basically tell me that there's a national shortage. First I've heard of it. So they tell me I can get on eBay and buy one for about $5,000. I was like, oh, that's true. People are selling them for $5,000. Supply and demand. I put my order in for it. I'm not going to mention names or where I'm from. And my Kenworth dealer, to say the least, I guess ordered the wrong superseded number. When that hit PACCAR, they threw it in the garbage and they canceled my order. They didn't tell me this until after 2 months of waiting. So after I called them for a checkup, and they told me, yeah, your order's been canceled. You're going to have to get in the back of the line. I was pretty pissed off. They then told me, the manager, oh, I'm sorry. I'll petition to PACCAR to get you this reflash or get you a sensor within 48 hours if they have it. They didn't have it. So they sent me approval for a reflash, at which point I would have the truck towed down there, have the reflash done. Really shouldn't take any more than 45 minutes. I've talked to another dealer from Peterbilt. It's a 45-minute, I guess, scale of what it pays. And what it comes down to is for the reflash, they wanted, he told me between $700 and $1,700 for the reflash, depending on how long it took. They hadn't done any of them, and they didn't know how much it was going to cost. And then they would have to have me come back to put the def level sensor in, which I would also pay for that, upon which the time they would flash the computer back for the same price. So we're looking at around $3,000. And $3,000 is a bit ridiculous for a crapshoot, especially when you don't know. Didn't give me much trust in them, and so I kind of thought I was on my own. Basically, what I had done previous to that is I had already bought this gateway, and I had started the process of trying to learn all the data and how the truck worked. There's people that swap Tesla motors into RX-7s, RX-8s. More commonly, there's people that put LS motors in places they're not supposed to belong, like a Tesla. LS and Teslas. And with everything being CAN bus related, you can't just take a termination resistor out of something and then say work. So somehow car enthusiasts are getting around that fact. So I researched the hell out of that and realized you can do the same thing with 1939. It's just a different protocol. The tools you're going to need for the job, you're going to need a laptop, Windows, preferably. I'm sure you can use others. If you look on Copper Hill Technologies, there is a gateway for 1939. That's what you're going to want. You can read the shit out of those directions, and it'll tell you everything you're going to need to run that. If your drivers don't update, you're going to have to download the zip file and update them yourself. That might be tasking. I didn't have any problems. The first computer I tested it on updated on its own. The second one, I had to download the zip file and extract everything and then update the drivers that way. You're also going to need roughly 30 to 40 foot of primary wire, so you can run an extension harness from your sensor into your truck, so you don't have a laptop sitting on the back of your truck like an idiot. The data I collected off this truck, I will show you how I did this in a couple different ways. I bought a gateway, which is a 1939J, 1939 protocol gateway that can monitor CAN bus. Copper Hill Technologies makes one. It's badass. It looks like whoever is in charge of Copper Hill Technologies really knew what they were doing, and are really enthusiasts on CAN bus, among other things. I'm sure that you can program a Raspberry Pi or Arduino chip with this information, and I am not smart enough to do that. I probably could figure it out, but as soon as I stumbled across this information, my first goal was to get the truck running, test it, make sure everything worked correctly, and the second thing you're going to do is what? Oh, can I make money on this? Yeah, I'm sure I probably could. And if you want the data that I'm going to show you, and you don't want to mess with typing it in yourself, and you just really want to try it and just get an email and plug it in, I'm more than happy to send it to you if you want to make a donation to the cause. However, you're more than welcome to figure it out on your own. I'm going to show you all the ways, and I'm going to show you the data. You can enter it yourself. But if you can't figure it out, that's fine, because it's a pain in the ass. I'm not going to show you how I stumbled through everything. I'm just going to kind of give you the rundown. SPN, I mentioned what my codes were, and then there's what's called PGN. If you get on isobus.net, essentially you can get in there and type in an SPN code, and it will give you a PGN number for that SPN. I found the 3 SPNs that I had related to 2 PGNs. Okay. I took the data from our Peterbilt and scaled it for 1,000 units of PGNs. So I data recorded 1,000 units of data, saved them, and then as file Peterbilt, the date I did it, the level of the tank. I think I did that at 44%. Then I filled the def tank up to 3/4. Did the same exact thing. Then I went to the Kenworth. I did the same exact thing with the sensor plugged in. Corrupt data and all. That PGN obviously wasn't working, or it was in a fail-safe mode and just read 0. The gauge that was pegged negative or pegged empty, and red light was on. Service SCR, all that. I have all that data. I put it in Excel. I sorted everything to Excel so it made everything nice and neat. If you look at it in WordPad, you're going to drive yourself crazy because it doesn't organize it. So put it in Excel. You can read everything nice and neat. I then started looking at what's called source address and destination address in priority. And those are very important. You cannot have any of the data missing, or the data you transmit will not work. It's important to make sure when you're doing this that your source address is at 163, your destination is 255, and your priority is 6. At that point, you can enter your data in, and more than commonly, when you enter this data in on any of the software programs, you're going to have to put a 0x and then your hex data. So 0x83 space 0x CF or whatever it may be. In a broad spectrum, you can relate this to any other canvas error. So if you have a sensor that's on the CAN network that isn't working, in this case it's a def level sensor, we are bypassing this sensor so we can make our trucks run. But the whole system is going to work identically the way it was meant to work. Just a D rate is not going to happen. Could you bypass, other sensors? Yeah, you could. Could there be other ramifications of it? Yeah, there could be. So do it at your own risk. As far as the risk on this one, the only risk is you're going to run your def tank empty because you can't tell how much def is in it. So if you have this flash done to your truck from the Peterbilt, PACCAR, whoever dealership you're going to deal with, this same exact consequences are going to be there. If you run your def tank out of def, you will have a problem. So just remember that. All right, here's the def tank. This has got a stainless steel cover on it so you can't see the quality and level sensor. But essentially what we did is you leave the sensor plugged in there, into the tank itself screwed in. That way you don't get any debris in your tank. Go ahead and cut the wiring harness off the sensor. Leave yourself about 4 or 5 inches of wiring to play with. Go ahead and put butt connectors on them, right? So here's my butt connectors I've installed. Yellow is going to be, your high side can, green is low side can, red and black, power and ground. Go ahead and take an extension harness, run it up the truck, but this is going to actually be plugged into the truck. So this is the truck side wiring here. This is my wiring. Runs up behind the truck. Firewall comes in the IP area. There's a grommet back there. We've got an extension harness kind of running through here. And this is the 1939 gateway. Essentially it's going to have 4 pins in it, right? You're going to screw in each one that does whatever it does. Can high, can low, ground and power, your USB-C. And it's important that you pull your termination resistor out. There's 2 little prongs there if this thing focuses. When you buy it, it's actually going to have a termination resistor on it. You're going to want to just pull it off. This is basically because the termination resistor isn't located in the def level sensor. It's going to be like in the ECU or somewhere else stuck in the wiring, but you don't need it. So go ahead and pull it off, put it in a bag. You might need it one day. Then it's going to plug into your computer. This is a software. It's important that you download the right software, follow the directions with the gateway, but your icon to your software should look like that, not a big X. Okay, so this is it loaded up. If you have any trouble with the drivers installing on your computer, you can actually download the drivers from Copper Hill Technologies. Your communication port for me is 3, probably will be for you too. You're going to go ahead and hit start. All right, so now we have a communication started. I already have my file saved because I made my data a while ago. So we're going to go load that. All right, so now our data is saved. You'll notice that the source address or preferred address has changed from what their 128 is. And it's very important that you make it the correct source address for your application. More than likely, if you're doing the def level sensor, your source address will be 163. So you're going to go ECU simulation mode. Sometimes it is hard for it to claim addresses. I've had it to where you got to kind of play with it, basically what I'm going to do is turn the key on and then quickly claim it. And sometimes it just doesn't update. You go here to gateway and then request status. Sometimes right away it'll tell you that it worked. In this case, it doesn't look like it's telling us that. So we're going to go back here, claim it again. And now it took it, right? So the address is claimed because it's in there that it's been claimed. If you go to your gateway again, you'll notice it says it's been claimed, right? So now, basically what is going on is in our transmit side, we had to enter our PGN in. So for the level, it was 65-110, and for the quality, it was 64-923. And basically what I'll do is you'll enter in here your data, right? And then that's the only really tricky part. You have to type 0x and then 3C space 0x83, so on and so forth. Destination is going to be 255 and the priority 6. I've set all these on interval transmission rates. So default's going to be manual. You can also do it on request. I have everything on interval, and for whatever reason I did the quality at 10 milliseconds and I did the level at 100 milliseconds, and it works. You can see everything auto-populating here, and you can use this one day if you wanted to. Basically what I had to do is I got this gateway, I plugged it in, I didn't go into transmit, I was just in monitoring mode, and it's auto scrolling right now, which is kind of, annoying. But essentially you can turn that off and it quits doing that. You can see all my def descriptors coming up, def 2, def 2, and def is not as fast just because of the millisecond scale that I have it on. The recorder is kind of neat. This is how I got all my information. So I backed probed the CAN bus wiring, and on the high and low, powered the module up, and then I recorded about 1.5 minutes or 1,000 PIDs of data. Okay, I then hit stop recording, and it will come up and save that file. You'll assign a name to it, and then what I would do, because this computer doesn't have Excel, is I would email it to myself, upload it in Excel, and then sort the columns. If you know how to work Excel, put everything together and sort the columns, and it'll put all your PGNs in a row with their data. I was then able to compare it to another truck that is essentially the same truck. This is a Kenworth. I compared it to a Peterbilt. Everything was year-wise almost the same. And the only difference in PGNs was the Kenworth has basically a touchscreen. So it was kind of easy to kind of keep track of who was who and what was what. If you disconnect the sensor, the PGN won't go away. And the reason that is because the PGN is assigned to the ECU. The ECU knows it should be there, and when it is missing, it sets a default rate. So you can't really look for that. You'll also notice if you get into a data PGN race, you'll see 59904. That's actually this module. 59904 is actually this module is what you're seeing. So don't let that confuse you either, because it'll basically have 4 bits of data instead of 8. But essentially this is the main portion of what you're going to need. It was a pain in the ass to get. It should work with all def level sensors, but you could apply this same terminology to everything. I've referenced how I got to the PGNs and the SPNs, which essentially is like a code that you would get for def level or quality sensor. But you can see the gauge is 44% and no def light, so the quality's good, and no D rate, no service SCR. You can also just fold this up, shove it in the bag, drive it down the road. I hope you enjoyed the video. As far as fixes go, I haven't seen anything like this on YouTube, Facebook, or Google. I wish I would have, because it would have made my eyes twitch a lot less. It's nice to actually push yourself to do something and learn something. Good things always come of it. Like I said, hopefully this helps you. but we're driving our truck around with our laptop and we don't have any problems. Just make sure it stays plugged in and battery charged on your laptop. You shouldn't have any problems. You can message me if you'd like. I can send you the data file if you'd like to make a donation. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them. Keep in mind, I work 8 to 5, and then I'm also on call 24/7. So, but more than welcome to message me, and I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.